Hello everyone, today we are doing the symmetrical family. So we are first going to describe the different stages of the symmetrical family and explain why the symmetrical family has increased in the UK. So the symmetrical family, here's the definition: a family where responsibilities are equally shared between husband and wife. This concept was introduced by the sociologists Young and Wilmot. You can see there's the picture of their book that they wrote on the symmetrical family and the reasons why it's increased. So this is what we're going to be exploring today. So they completed their study in the 70s, and essentially what they were saying was, in the past, conjugal roles, so remember the word conjugal relates to marriage, so the roles within a marriage were segregated. So the roles of men and women were completely separate and usually unequal, as they were based on the domestic division of labour. So what this means is that they're essentially saying that women did the traditional housewife, child-caring role, and the men would do the traditional breadwinning, going out to work role, earning the money. Essentially what Wilmot and Young are arguing is that conjugal roles have since become more joint or equal, because couples are now sharing housework and childcare more so now. Men are doing more housework, they're doing more childcare. Women are going out to work more and are becoming dual earners, so the man is earning and the woman is earning. Men and women are sharing household decisions more now, such as how money is spent in the family. And typically it would be men who would make the decisions about the big expensive items, such as the house, the car, how money should be spent on those things. And women would take decisions on perhaps the smaller items, such as, what food should we buy this week? What leisure activities should the children do? So those kinds of decisions are becoming more shared now, more equal. They've got more of a financial partnership. So essentially what they're saying is they would discuss how to share money, how to spend it. There are several reasons why there's been a rise in the symmetrical family. So what you need to do is read the 2 pages that I've suggested from the textbook, and look at this table. So we've got all the reasons on the left-hand side. So things like improved living standards. So you need to say in that explanation box, how has improved living standards led to more of a symmetrical family? For 3 of them, there are challenge tasks there for you to do as well. If you get stuck, then email me and I will help you. A second concept that Young and Wilmot developed is the principle of stratified diffusion. What this means is that new family lifestyles like values, expectations, and leisure activities are, in their opinion, usually first adopted by middle-class families. So if you look at that diagram on the left, you've got the top of the social class at the top, and then you've got the triangle, and at the bottom you've got bottom of social class. So at the top you would have your middle and upper class families, their values, attitudes, expectations, the things they buy, they're all perhaps changing. They first get adopted by middle-class families, and gradually over time, working-class families adopt the same values and attitudes and patterns of buying that the middle class have. So these new attitudes are slowly adopted by working-class families. So, for example, middle-class families may change the things they buy, and gradually over time, working-class families will buy the same items. So this can be seen through televisions. So in the 50s, only really the richest families bought televisions, but by the 70s, most households had a TV. So you can see over time, the working class adopted the purchasing choices of the rich. But in relation to roles in the household, you could say something similar. So middle-class families were the first to adopt a more symmetrical family. So they were the first to kind of start sharing roles and responsibilities in the household. And over time, more working-class families started to become more symmetrical as well. So why do we think maybe middle-class families started to become symmetrical before working-class families? To answer that question, you need to go back to the chart here. So if you think about, let's say, the improved status of women, really it was middle-class women's status that got improved first, It was more middle class women that, were able to go out and pursue higher professional jobs before working class women. So that might be why they had to suddenly start sharing household chores more equally in the home. And then also the commercialization of housework, where you're getting somebody else to clean your house for you. Perhaps you pay somebody to come in and do your ironing, do your washing, etc. Again, it would be middle class families that could afford to do that first. It isn't that common for working class families these days to have a paid cleaner, but it is becoming more and more acceptable, and it's also becoming cheaper and cheaper for us to hire people like nannies, cooks, cleaners, etc. And so that's slowly starting to filter down to poorer families too. And that means that, if you've paid somebody else to do all the housework for you, that means that men and women can actually share the other roles, like the paid work in the household as well. They can become more equal. So now we've got some evidence. There's 5 pieces of evidence, either supporting the view that symmetrical families have increased, and there are some that suggest that it hasn't really increased. And actually, our family lives are still very segregated. We don't have joint conjugal roles. We have segregated conjugal roles. So what you need to do is read the evidence and decide whether it's evidence that symmetrical families are increasing or are not increasing. And all you need to do is delete. You can see that there's the part in red. You just need to delete the bold part to make the sentence make sense. So we'll do the first one because we've looked at this one already. So Wilmot and Young, women going out to work has led to a more equal division of labour at home. Men are becoming more involved in housework and children. So this is evidence that symmetrical families are increasing. So all I would need to do there is delete the are not words, so the sentence makes sense. It's evidence that symmetrical families are going up in the UK. So if you could do the same for all the others, that would be great. And then lastly, we need to try and answer this question because all that evidence that you've just looked at can be used to answer this question, which is kind of styled in the same way that a 12-mark question would be on your exam. So are symmetrical families really increasing? What you need to do is use that evidence to fill in and complete these sentence starters. So first, it's the symmetrical family is, and you want to give a definition. Some sociologists support that the symmetrical family is increasing. Evidence to support this is from Wilmot and Young. This shows that, and that's where you would explain that first box there, what it says there. You would say what it shows. It shows that women and men are sharing household chores more so than in the past. And you would want to use, one of the things from the chart as well, one of the reasons why it's gone up. And then on the other hand, some sociologists disagree and argue that evidence of symmetrical families has been exaggerated. Evidence to support this is, and pick one from here that shows that actually our families are no longer or not actually increasing in becoming symmetrical. And then you've got your conclusion at the end. What do you think? Do you think symmetrical families are increasing or not? And you need to justify your opinion as well. So it might be that you say, yes, symmetrical families are increasing, but really it's only in middle class families where this is the case. Something like that. That's all you need to do for this lesson. If you could send it over to your teacher by Friday, that would be great. If you need any help, then just email. Thanks, bye.